Iguazu Falls.
Hey guys, Henry here, and today I'm going to be talking about Iguazu Falls. Iguazu Falls is situated on the border between Paraguay, Argentina and Brazil. And it's a mammoth of a waterfall spanning a couple of kilometers with over 275 waterfalls. Even Eleanor Roosevelt said it was more impressive than the Niagara Falls. Not that important, but yeah, what else. So the Iguazu National Park is split into two. One Argentina, one Brazil. Seeing as we just visited Buenos Aires in Argentina, we stayed on the Argentinian side and visited Iguazu Falls from there. The Argentinian side of the national park is very big. In the morning when we first got to the national park, it was raining pretty heavily. This is because it's a rainforest, so it tends to rain more in the high humidity areas. Luckily the rain died down within a few hours and we weren't really bothered by it for the rest of the day. On the Argentinian side, there are a lot of different vantage points that you can go to see the waterfalls. So the first one that we went to visit was actually on the very top looking down onto the waterfall. So we had to catch a train to bring us up all the way to the top. At the top, you actually get to walk on these bridges, which is actually above the water, and you get to walk all the way to the edge where the water actually drops down. And from there, it's really hectic. There's lots of water flying everywhere. Lots of people trying to take selfies and photos, but it is a crazy experience and atmosphere up there. Not only is there vantage points from high ground, but there's also vantage points from low ground. And there's lots of different hikes and walks that you can do to actually get different views and angles of the many different waterfalls of Iguazu Falls. Each one of them is different and beautiful in its own way, and if you have time I do recommend that you go and do all of them because it's possible to do all of them in one day. On the Argentinian side as well, we decided to take a waterfall boat tour. So basically, you get in a boat and they take you underneath the waterfalls to experience the waves crashing on top of you. It's a crazy experience. I brought my GoPro to record it all, and it's something I definitely recommend that you do. It's well worth the money you're paying for it. We got a package as well that included a safari tour, which unfortunately didn't really show us much. We were basically in a truck and it just drove through the jungle and we didn't see any animals, and the tour guide, although he was knowledgeable, there was nothing for him to really point out. This was sort of a rip-off of our money, and I do recommend that instead of doing that jungle tour, because it's a combined package, you just do two of the boat tours. Because the boat is a really crazy experience, and when you go and do it, you'll know what I mean. Also, the fact that it did rain early in the morning also meant when the rain cleared up and the clouds cleared up, rainbows came out. And the rainbows on top of these waterfalls was really an amazing view, and it just reminded me of, you know, like an Avatar or Jurassic Park sort of feeling. The Iguazu Falls town on the Argentinian side doesn't have much to do. I guess this is because it's purely a tourist town because it's facilitating to all the tourists that come to visit Iguazu Falls. So there's not much to do there, basically just restaurants. Even while we're eating, there was actually a blackout as well, and they didn't have emergency power or anything, so people all in the restaurants across the whole street were just eating in darkness. Now onto the Brazil side of Iguazu Falls. So the next day, we basically got in a car and just drove across the border to the Brazil side. And on that side, to get into the national park, there was a massive line. Compared to the Argentinian park, there was no line at all. The Argentinian park is much larger and less self-contained, whereas the Brazilian park is very contained and there are only specific points that you can go. So it's very restricted and they can't allow hordes and hordes of people to enter at once. As I said before, the Brazilian side is a lot more restrictive than the Argentinian side. There was really only one path that you could take, and it was just completely filled with people. It was just like a giant line just slowly moving while people took photos and took their time to appreciate the views. But I must admit, the Brazilian side was a spectacular view. There was a part of the walk that actually allowed you to go right underneath the waterfall. There was a little bridge and a little platform, and everyone would just walk across wearing ponchos and umbrellas and just taking photos. It was crazy, and this angle itself was really mind-blowing. You could see the waterfalls coming from above you, and you could see the waterfalls continuing on beneath you. Overall, the 2 days at Iguazu Falls was an amazing experience, just appreciating one of the natural wonders of the world and just spending 2 days semi-bushwalking and taking photos. When visiting Iguazu Falls, it is a tourist destination. You need to be wary of tourist traps. The night that we were in town, we wanted to organize a taxi to take us to the Argentinian side. We agreed on a price with the taxi driver, and when he arrived the next day, he demanded more. And because it's in such an isolated area, you can't really say no because there are not that many options to go to after that. Secondly, we got ripped off with exchange rates. In my Argentinian video, I did explain that there were black markets for money exchange from changing USD or AUD into pesos. Unfortunately, we didn't exchange enough money when we were in Buenos Aires before we went to Iguazu Falls, and we needed to exchange money while we were at Iguazu Falls. The exchange rates here at the bank were crazy high, and the black market rates were a lot dodgier as they could tell that you are desperate and they take advantage of you. So just a reminder that before you get there, make sure you have enough cash so you don't actually have to exchange anything while you're there. Also, there was a lot of wildlife at Iguazu Falls, such as turtles or monkeys, or butterflies and insects. But the most interesting thing is the quachi. The quachi is raccoon-like and is not afraid of humans. It just comes up to you while you're eating food and literally takes the food off your plate and just eats it. We ran into a couple of them while we were eating lunch. They just jumped into our table and just started eating our food. You couldn't shoo them away, and people working at the park actually had to use brooms to smack them away from the public areas. They're really cute and funny, and you'll see them everywhere you go, so if you go to Iguazu Falls, you won't have to keep an eye out because they will run into you. Another fact about Iguazu Falls is that the water itself is actually browny red, and this is because of deforestation and the loosening of the soil, and the soil actually gets into the Amazon River and causes that sort of pollution. And so that's why nowadays when you go to see Iguazu Falls, they won't be as clear and clean as they once used to be. Anyway, that's it for this video about Iguazu Falls. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it interesting and informative. If you like this video, please hit that big like button and share this with your friends. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.